Maybe Kaitlyn Myers.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, city councilor, housing task force. Name all your credentials.
Sure. So I am the executive director of the Moab Area Community Land Trust, Moab City Council. I'm currently the chair of the Moab Area Housing Task Force. I was just appointed chair of the Grand County Local Homeless Council, which, by the way, we're looking for leadership for the task force, so I don't know if I'll still be chair on that, but been involved with that for a while. And then outside of Moab Community, I'm on the board of the Utah Housing Coalition, which is a nonprofit that does statewide housing advocacy and education. Seems like I might be in process to get a bill passed soon, which will be really exciting. And then I'm also on the Olin Walker Housing Loan Fund Board, which is a state board that allocates a lot of gap financing for affordable projects, mostly like LIHTC projects. So,
So you're full-time city council in these things, right? Like,
yeah.
You don't have another job outside of like government and board work.
Right.
Outside of everything you stated.
Yeah. I feel like I've got enough on my plate now. Yeah. And maybe some days, like some weeks like this past one, I'm like, maybe I need even less. But But yeah. Land Trust, Mackle is full-time. City Council, I feel like, is part-time. Ebbs and flows.
Yeah, that's what we're finding, like with Miles, with him stepping on, we're kind of, with our business, we're like adjusting to what that will look like. So, yeah, I mean, it's important, but like you said, it ebbs and flows. So we know you're involved in housing a lot. I spoke at the business summit earlier this week.
Yeah.
And you sent me a chart. I kind of wanted to ask you about this. This is one of the things. So, okay, there's a thing called area median income.
Yep.
Not to get too dorky on this stuff, but area median income is what we base all affordable housing on, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. And so it was like 80%. If you made 80 to 120% AMI, you're eligible for Mackle, the living at Arroyo. But we'll put it in simple terms.
Yeah.
What I thought was funny about that was it was for a single person, $54,000 to, oh God, I forgot the upper number. Do you know it off the top of your head?
No, I can pull it up on my phone.
It was like $54,000 to like $84,000, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, this was something I was really wondering about, and it was I was like, oh, is this the thing that's a problem? So, it was like, if you added two people, it didn't double. It wasn't like 54 times 2. And so, like, it was almost a penalty if somebody was married. And I've just heard, like, friends that live over there were saying, like, that was a stumbling block. I've had friends, not with Mackle, but, like, the self-help program, were like, we couldn't get married. Because that, and it's like, but we're building these family houses,
right?
And yet, like, they're only single people qualify.
Yeah. We've got a ton of that at Arroyo, and I think that happened with self-help before. I think that happens with a lot of income restricted housing.
Now, is that by design or is that like a glitch? Because these are numbers generated by higher ups than us.
Yeah.
And what do you think about that?
I'd say these numbers are set by HUD, and even with us getting above 100%, because HUD basically says here's 100%, and then they have formulas to calculate down from that. And when we were first getting started, we basically even redesigned our formula to create a slightly higher 120% based on HUD's methodology. But
so we get, for a single person, 56,000 would be 80% AMI, 120% would be 80 to 4,000. So it's like we got 56 to 84,000. That's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, if I'm thinking about it, just thinking about my friends and kind of qualitatively, that feels about right for an individual person. Maybe it's even slightly low because they only adjust it once per year. But thinking about my friends, like, in the 80s and above, you're definitely doing better than the median, or even maybe better than the average. If you're lower than, I can't remember what it is for one person at 100.
At 100% is 63,000. So a family 4 at 80% is 80,000.
Yep.
So, it's like 2 people making 40 grand a year is the limit on that. And so it's like, I think about this. I mean, then you have to like translate it into what this means for like somebody who's a wage slave, right? So like, what I brought up at the business summit, because they asked me like, hey, we want kids into the trades and stuff. And I was like, well, maybe you don't, because as a journeyman plumber leading a crew of people on one of the largest commercial plumbing outfits in Southeast Utah, I made under 56,000 a year. I made 48,000. And so that was 26 times 2,000. Okay, so I made $26 an hour, and that was $52,000 a year, right under the cutoff. And so I think, there's a room full of employers in that room, and I was like, do you know the number you need to pay people to live here? That magic number is like $27.50 an hour. So, I feel like we have these numbers that like we deal with on housing, and then it's like, then we have like employers, and then we have the employees. Totally. And what's your perspective on that? I just blurted my thing.
Yeah. So, my whole thing on that we never talk about, which is what you're talking about with affordable housing. In its truest sense, affordable housing is like a percentage of your monthly income on your housing expenses. Mm-hmm. And we always talk about the housing piece and how that's so expensive, and no one can get in on that, but like no one is redirecting that conversation back to the wages, mm-hmm. which is like people don't make enough money here. We talk about it in very like intellectual senses, or in like an economic development plan of bringing in new businesses to raise wages, but it's like we're never having conversations about how to support businesses and paying their people more. Mm-hmm. I think because it's personal, I think people like feel attacked when you say that to them of like, oh, well, I can't because my business can't afford it. And it's like, well, let's talk about what you're making versus what your employees are making. I think like you and Miles are having really honest conversations about that. But I think there are a lot of employers that don't, and especially like larger corporations coming in, they're like,
do you think that's like ignorance, willful ignorance, out of touchness? Like what's behind that?
I feel like, I don't know. I think that a lot of people, I think there's so many people that work really hard. I think once you get into a leadership position, you're like, well, I have more experience. I deserve to get paid more. I work more. I'm salaried. I'm working all the time. So I deserve to pay more because I have more of the liability and the responsibility versus like, you're just working hourly, so I can pay you less, and I have to distribute the profit somehow, and I'm going to reward myself. But I don't know. I mean, it's like, I think more and more corporations coming in, a lot of that money is leaving, and so it's like even people in leadership positions here still have to send profits up to the top.
Yeah.
So
you feel like we're getting like you're saying that. I find that interesting. You're saying there's a lot of more like outside corporate interests moving in. Is that like kind of like the big hotels? Is that what you're talking about, or what does that look like?
Yeah, I think more hotels. I think, usually hotels. I think some of the larger extractive industries that are coming in, maybe even some of the chains that we're seeing with like food industry. I think mostly like a lot of our like lowest service workers. That is, they're often working for some kind of franchise or for like a corporate level hotel, something that has a brand name.
Yeah. And so when you say support businesses, I'm kind of like, do you need to support businesses or do you need to strong arm them? You know, like local businesses support.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like that. Do you think a corporate business cares? You know, they're like at the bottom line. And that's why I'm just kind of like, what's this, you know, we all want to support and be nice and all that. But I'm just like, at what point do we just like, we're going to unionize your workforce?
Totally.
I mean, like, I'm just kind of like, should there be a service workers revolt? You know, I've talked about this before, but I think I don't know if you probably were here when this happened, when McDonald's posted their wage.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it was like all my friends could talk about. We're like, geez, man, like, and I'm just like, that was a basic thing, you know?
Totally.
I feel like, you know, it's like, as a labor rights movement, just putting like, I feel like if we put on, I've said this at like county commission meetings, maybe we just need to put $27.50 is what you need to do to like have a ownership here. So people know, you know, and I feel like employment and stuff. One thing with my business is I always like feel like capitalism and like it's based on, there's an element of secrecy because you're trying to obscure a lot of things. So like me and Miles trying to be definitely not that with our employees and be more open book. But I just I hear you on supporting like local businesses. What can we do? But at a certain point, there's a reckoning. Like, you know, it's funny when I talking to a landscaper, they were like, yeah, it's amazing what happened when I posted a higher wage on a Help Wanted ad. I started getting people to want to work here. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like hard.
Yeah. I mean, it's so competitive too, right? Like, and I mean, I'm thinking about like when conversations about like increasing the national minimum wage came up, I was in like middle school, high school. My dad had a local business and he was like, this isn't ever going to work because small businesses can't just like jump in line. Like they need to take care of themselves. And so, yeah, like how do you actually get something like that to work? Because, you know, ultimately for the small businesses here, and I feel like we've talked about this with like smaller landlords versus like larger projects, larger property management companies coming in that like can spread out, they have more flexibility with their profit margins. I was in a kind of conversation with friends last weekend about even like publicly traded companies trading real estate assets and how, you know, I hate that even more. Because it's all like who are you responding to first? It's probably your clients. It's probably your bottom line.
Yeah.
Who are you responding to second? Hopefully that's your workers because you need your workers to run your business.
Right. And I feel like I hear Trump like saying maybe we shouldn't have private equity investing in real estate. And this kind of brings me to next thing I kind of want to talk about. Like we were both you had Nate
Bluen.
Bluen at your house.
Nate,
and you invited me over. That was great. Got to meet him. Good, solid, progressive. I feel like he's kind of like your nerdy cousin that went to school.
Totally.
You know? Like he's like, and he was out here in the parking lot. And, you know, I asked him to go skinny dipping. He wouldn't do it, but he would. Did he end up jumping in the water?
I don't know. I had to go to work. I know that he went down there.
I feel like if he wasn't running, he might do it on a Moab local drunken night, like jump into Mill Creek. So
maybe.
He seemed like that kind of guy. Like I was very much like, yeah, he's a normal dude. Like he passed my vibe check. I was just like, yeah. You know?
Yeah, he passes the vibe check. And yeah, he's the only candidate running for that seat that's been endorsed by a union so far. Got an endorsement from Bernie Sanders. So yeah, he's definitely pro-labor. He's interesting. I was really excited to support him. and host him here. Also, it seems like this race is going to come down to Nate versus Ben McAdams. And yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting, like litmus test for like where Democrats in Salt Lake actually are.
Yeah. Because Democrats in Utah have always been like, hey, it doesn't matter. Vote for Cornel West. Vote for Bernie Sanders. It's like, it's not a real election. So you can kind of be like, it'll be the radical part.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh yeah, let's see what happens with that. Because, talking about like real deliverables at that little thing we had at Mill Creek, I mentioned, I was like, he had said something about like, oh, I'm for like this Kamala Harris district is plus 22. And I was like, you were mentioning that like it was a good thing. And I was kind of like, to me, it's not. And he kind of chuckled with that, which made me realize like, it's like he kind of got that vibe where it was like, like that's like the problem. Like to me, that is the problem with the Democratic Party. And, but we'll see what that district does. Yeah. And if they're like, oh yeah, they're normie corporate Democrat supporting people or not. And so the fact that he kind of got that was like the selling point to me. And, then I got an argument with some local guy about, I kind of gave a rhetorical thing. I was like, I'd probably vote for Trump over Harris as a rhetorical flourish. Yeah,
I feel like I've heard you say that before.
Well, no, and I'm like, well, taking Blackstone out of real estate, that's a deliverable.
Totally.
No tax on tips.
Yeah.
Whoa. Paul Krugman is like, oh, but Biden gave you 0.5% more wages last year. And that's good. Shut up and enjoy it. Because Biden economics works, and Nancy Pelosi's husband had insider trading. Like, that to me is like a snapshot of the Democratic Party. And I'm like, I don't support that.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, Trump's kind of a burn it down. And anyways, this is to get off my thing. Respond to that, and I have a next question of like, what does it mean to be a progressive in Grand County in Moab, Utah?
That's okay. I'll respond to both of those. I have noticed my politics kind of shifting around, which I'm anticipating you're going to ask about city elections at some point. But yeah, even
should I?
I was anticipating it. We don't. Yeah. We'll see what I say about that. But yeah, with Kamala, I mean, the day after the election, like I had this weird feeling of like both being really disappointed that she lost, not being surprised that Trump won again, and also mostly just being like astounded at how much money she fundraised, like that campaign fundraised in such a short amount of time. Like that is evil money. There's so much evil money, and Democrats like to, stand on these morality issues.
Yeah, she got in her position because she was Silicon Valley's senator. Yeah. And that's how she got that position. And that's Californian Democratic machine.
Yeah.
Right? Anyways.
Yeah. I mean, she's just so much part of the machine. Like that's why, there's videos of people protesting and screaming at her about Gaza, and she basically tells them to shut up. And it's like, that is not what I want to see as a progressive either. So I'm honestly disillusioned by both. I think one of the things that was most exciting about the meet and greet for Nate is that we had kind of multiple generations of progressives in Grand County there, which I was happy to help facilitate because, for me, I think, well, I don't know. I think my short answer is like being a progressive in Grand County is like actually a lot more complicated, and we're not just the same within either party. Like I've had a lot of like cross connections with conservatives that live here that we're actually really aligned on more issues than I am with leaders of our own party. And there was someone that was in leadership of the Democratic Party when I was running for city that wanted to have a sure win. And so there were 4 more progressives running for 3 seats. They were trying really hard to get one of us to drop. Someone talked to me about how, young women are statistically the least likely to win an election here. And just, also just for me as a young woman, navigating all of those and a lot more feedback about my appearance and all that stuff was interesting. But two,
this is Moab in the 2020s.
Totally.
I thought we were over that shit. And yet this is haunting the Democrats.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I wanted to ask you about, because I've got my theory of local Democrats. Yeah. And I kind of wanted to kind of go into those nuances with you, because you've seen it firsthand yourself. I'm obviously a white male, straight white male, but I'm weird. So that doesn't mean,
which I appreciate. And also during my campaign, I would like to take a small ounce of credit for the idea of you guys having podcasts, because you really wanted me to do hot ones.
Oh, yeah.
We kept talking about
that is, if somebody can make hot wings and then serve them to candidates and a hot ones based thing. That was what we originally wanted to do. Yeah. So
maybe the next time I come on, we'll actually do that. But or you'll get someone else. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm not the only example of that. I think I was watching the Lynn Jackson episode and thinking about. So I moved here 2016.
I can nod along with Lynn on a lot of things.
Totally.
I could nod along with being would you want a high-wage extraction job or a low-wage tourist job? Give me the extraction job.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also with that, when I moved here, he was on county council, so was Liz Tubbs. I was, I don't know, I thought that was a pretty moderate. Mm-hmm. But, I remember being at the controversial TRT meeting. But that aside, when I think about Liz Tubbs, I remember when she decided to run unaffiliated, the party abandoned her and ran Greg Halliday. Mm-hmm. And between the two is I think that was the wrong choice. Mm-hmm. Picking someone's party affiliation over who they are as a person is part of the problem that I'm seeing with who we have in office and with politics in general.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so let's talk about the progressive divide.
Yeah.
The young Democrats, the young progressive Democrats, and our party elite establishment.
Yeah.
What do you give me some takes on that?
Some takes on that. I think there's a broad spectrum of where people are on kind of environmental issues. I know for sure for me, public lands is a really interesting, and I have kind of a hot take on that, which is...
what is it?
I'm honestly a never selling public lands. I think that, the state is having conversations about, changing the Constitution for SITLA. That's public land. I think it's environmental groups, even with the Mike Lee maps, published a map that was not representative of what would have been even affected. There's a UDOT property in the middle of downtown. That's public land. Why can't we develop that?
Right.
There's federal offices and little parcels of land. Why can't we develop that when it's close to communities? And particularly using the community land trust model of it is still a public asset, but that doesn't mean that it needs to be owned and managed by the federal government or the state government forever. Having more we talk about public-private partnerships at the local level, and it's why does it stop there? Why are we excited to talk about using...
Why does it stop? Is it just the translation? It's such a...
I don't know.
If we gave that right there, the rim to Mackle, why can't that happen? Just because it hasn't been done before? Or?
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. And to be clear, too, I'm not for building out luxury homes outside of the national park.
That's the fear that I have. Yeah. It's they're just going to sell this stuff off, and it's going to be free reign capitalism instead of addressing a need, because you can't regulate anything ever because it's so horrible. So that would be my skepticism.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, when I've been homeless 3 times in Moab, kicked out of whatever. And every single time, like, you're just like, boy, there's a lot of public land.
Yeah.
And your attitude changes depending on your need.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so it's like, ask me then, should they sell public lands? Oh, yeah, definitely. Now I'm a nice bourgeois homeowner. Well, let's talk about it. You know, so it's
I mean, like, that's the whole thing, though. It's like, let's talk about it. Like, it shouldn't be a black and white non-starter of like,
and
never,
so I
ever.
feel like there's a segment here of Democrats that are like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And it's like,
a lot of my close friends, even, like, yeah, totally. I think that leaks into like local, like, no offense, but like, I think that some of the most NIMBYs of this community are progressives that moved here in probably mostly in the 90s.
Yeah.
They live in Navajo Heights. They live in Mulberry Grove. They live in really nice neighborhoods.
Yeah.
They deserve to have a nice place to live, but it's like...
They got theirs and they're cutting off everyone else.
Yeah,
And
in the name
I
of
feel
conservation.
Like right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, I mean, like, the solution to that would be negative population growth.
Yeah.
And
which we're almost experiencing right now.
that's the weird thing I always tell people is like Moab's population went down.
Yeah.
Yet we're still building. And like everything, like I've watched this neighborhood. Like I wish I could afford a second home, vacation home, whatever. It's America. You can own it. But like, it has an effect,
Yeah.
So like, we need to think about that.
Totally. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I've even in my neighborhood, I'm both watching homes on the market, flipping into something else. But then I've also had neighbors come to my door, ask me to sign a petition against an ADU in someone's backyard. And it's like, what are we doing right now?
Right. And ADUs are supposed to be the most palatable. Those are really our means tested, most palatable thing about affordable housing.
Yeah.
So, and I would like on our new county commission thing, there's some ADU things I hope to really change on that. So
let's talk about it. Yeah. Yeah. We've talked about that a lot.
Yeah. Me and Miles actually were kind of like, should we try to be like the ADU builders, the evil developers that we are. So let's see, let's set that.
Okay, we're going.
All right. Good break there. So, we got that one. That was a major discussion point because I feel that's like something I feel hard in this town. And I just know it from like the land use thing. You were saying on like sexism issues and stuff like that. Like go more into that one, or I don't know. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I guess like, I don't know. I guess one of the things I'd say in general about that is like, it's both sides. Like, it's not one party or another. It's like people on both sides. But Democrats, like, because they stand generally on social... Actually, that's not even true. There's an email group that, like, I've had friends leave this group of, kind of progressives that talk about community issues because there have been such heated debates over, like, trans women and versus, like... biological women and like, just so much like hate speech that I'm seeing from progressives in this community. And I think it's because they have been here for a certain amount of time. They feel very comfortable. Like they feel very justified in their issues that they support. And so they're not kind of, it almost feels like they're not keeping up with conversations. It's like, actually, it's like this conversation about the umbrella. Like Democrats love to say that they have like a large big tent, and everyone's welcome in. And like I've had conversations with so many young people that like we don't feel welcome into that because we don't agree with everything. And so I feel like there are people that feel a little lost. I think that the two-party system and what we're fighting about the wrong issues. We're fighting each other instead of fighting up the ladder.
But what do you mean like that? Like we should be propositioning the state for more again, what does it mean to be this in a small, like in Grand County, Moab? So
I think it means Man, I think for me, it means like allowing, like for me to be progressive, it means like I think that the government's job is to step in and support people that need it. You know, it's to fill in gaps that the open market is not. And so that means supporting housing when housing is an issue, or supporting childcare or social services. And, you know, not as much infighting about, you know, things that happen like so far outside of our community. Like I think like ICE, I know a lot of people are doom scrolling about what's happening in Minnesota right now. But Grand County Sheriff, Moab City Police, like are both very, you know, protective over the people that live here, and like ICE isn't really an issue. And so it's like watching progressives kind of blow up on things that, yes, you should support and you should engage on that, but you know, kind of redirecting what that looks like here. I don't know. It's like I'm struggling to answer your question a little bit, because I think that I'm really struggling with identifying with a lot of my progressive peers in like a really strong way. I'm kind of over the last year kind of finding myself coming back to the middle, because like I guess when I'm saying the top, it's like really it's more of like a class warfare kind of thing, or like a class consciousness type of thing, more than like
and like the class warfare
issues.
in frames of progressive means that, oh, you're on the working class side, but then there's a non-working class progressive issue, right? Like just take like a trans issue, right? Like to me, that's a niche boutique issue. It has valid points, but like, hey man, like wages mean more to more people than that. Right. And there's the intersectionality and all that, but like, you know, that's where, you know, that's where it is.
So when I think about it in that way, it's like, I think that progressives, or like kind of people in my generation or in my class, are like, they're really concerned about housing and making sure that everyone has a place to live, and they want people to have food access and healthcare access and education access, and that everyone is welcome here regardless of what you believe or who you are, or your demographic information.
What I hear you really say on this is
tell me what I'm doing.
What I say is there's shortcomings of the current distribution of wealth system. And you're trying to use government to fill those shortcomings. And I feel there's a thing where it's like, well, do we use governments for direct assistance? Like, oh, you're hungry? Here's food. Okay, you need childcare. We'll directly provide it. And then there's this, in there, I've almost like conservative populism is like, well, we need to deregulate childcare so there can be childcare, and the market will take care of itself. I see that as like the two poles. Like I almost call it populism, but like local populism, like local working class issues and how we achieve those. But I'm like, and it's not like such a big war here. It's like, oh yeah, maybe there does need to be a deregulation here for that. Like, do we need to deregulate a zoning thing for childcare? Like. I'm not into deregulation, but where it, like credit due where credit's due. So maybe that's like a more appropriate, but that changing a zoning code is going to piss those people off.
Totally.
You know, like, oh, now we got the NIMBYs in there that like, I don't know. That's kind of where that's kind of how I would describe the whole niche. And what you're saying is like, keep going. Okay.
Well, and I guess like I even kind of fall in the middle of that, of like it's not the government's job to provide childcare. It's the government's job to like provide support to a childcare provider if they are serving people that can't afford it. You know, it's providing like little bits of subsidy, like much more of that public-private partnership. Like the government should be supporting businesses and doing their thing. Like they shouldn't be competing with the open market. Like I feel like Walnut Lane is perfect example of that. You know, and especially like I feel kind of uniquely qualified to talk about how, like, when I was on staff, it was so challenging to move that project forward because it has to go through a slow government process versus, like, I moved over to the land trust and, like, we've been booming. And it's because Grand County has supported us along the way with our grant applications. Like, they've provided direct support and indirect support, because it's not their job to provide housing. It's like their job to make life easier for the people that live in community. Across all things. So that's like providing infrastructure, providing roads, like providing health and safety structures and programs.
So you think the answer to, like, okay.
Yeah, it's not deregulation, because, like, like, if government were to just go away, government, like, I don't agree with that philosophy, because I think
it's
that,
the
like,
proper application of government.
Yeah, when it's like checks and balances, right? Like, the government is the regulator, and they're supposed to, like, incentivize where they want to see the community go. Like, it's not their job to do it themselves, but ultimately, if government's not there, in my ideal world, the government is, like, making sure that people are making the right wages, and that, like, corporations aren't just funneling all of it at the top, that's, like, going back into community. Like,
right. Right. That's a quite good... Yeah, and how do you? What's the mechanism? I mean, government has a lot of levers. That lever is a weird one.
Yeah,
we can assist childcare easier than we can pull that lever.
Totally, and that lever is, like, so far up here that it's, like, intangible.
But then sometimes all it takes is a $20 an hour sign at McDonald's.
Yeah, and I guess that's like
just like that's where I'm just like that thing blew my like. That forever was like will burn in my mind as a like life lesson.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they did that for a long time.
Yeah,
and so that's like the market competing with itself. On the other hand, like, I think there's some businesses that like to blame the government for their business going down, and it's like at a certain point, like, especially if you're much more like anti-government, small government, then it's on you to market your business and figure it out within the confines that you have.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's capitalism.
Yeah. I think the government's an easy target. You know what? I was really thinking about this when Nate visited. Everything in politics is like, I don't like them. I like this. I don't. And it's this like, don't like thing. And I'm just like, is that what rules this whole thing? Like.
Kind of.
Yeah. And it's kind of like a funny monkey mammalian, like, ancient ancestor part of the brain. And then we have these problems that are like, oh, well, it takes, like, dispassionate, like, here's the problem, here's to solve it. And so, yeah, I'm just kind of like, my thing was when Nate, I think I put on one of his videos, I'm like, I might not agree on everything with Nate is, but I think he has a moral compass.
Yeah.
And I think Democrats, we struggle with the term moral.
Yeah.
And I saw this on something Lynn put online, and about like lacking morality. And it's like, well, a lot of us have turned away from religion, which is like the source of like a lot of people's morality. But I think we need to lean into being like, well, you can be a moral person without religion. And that's what, like, that to me is like where I fall. Yeah. Right? Like, yeah, you can be moral. I don't need a book to, I mean, my dad was a Lutheran minister. I know about, like, the Bible. And what's funny is my dad was a weird Lutheran minister. Like, he was kind of a communist. And I never remembered the Bible talking about morality as a concept. Like, I never would have been, if you asked me when I was 18, does the Bible speak about morality? I was like, no. Like, but that's what it gets boiled down to.
Right.
So,
well, it's like, I mean, I would kind of say, like, it kind of does, but it doesn't. But yeah, that's like, so I actually started going back to church. I grew up in church. Yeah.
a progressive going to church. This is like J.D. Vance converting to Catholicism or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go into it.
Yeah, so like, I mean, and that's been really, this is the first time I've gone, so I've been in Moab for about 10 years.
Are you coming out? As,
kind of.
Coming out thing? I feel like for a liberal, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I went to church.
Yeah, I guess this is like, yeah.
Are you okay?
Honestly, no, I'm not okay. Which is, maybe one of the reasons why I went back. But yeah, like I grew up in church. Like I feel like I learned a lot about morality and like doing the right thing from church. And so like, yeah, seeing the way that religion is now and like even some of the rhetoric that's like kind of underlying in some of the things that I'm hearing from
church code's right. It's just coded right for me. That's what, and I'm like, yeah, that's what the distaste of it is.
Totally.
And so I'm just kind of like, yeah, all right, deal with that.
Yeah.
So you keep like, okay, sorry.
No, but I mean, it's like if you really like are looking at the Bible and like Jesus would not be a conservative. Like he wouldn't be.
Oh, he's a communist Jew.
Yeah, totally. And it's like I think about like last year there's an LDS church that like the state has this code blue, so like for homelessness like populations, like they need to have a place to go when it's too cold outside. Yeah. And the church was like, never ever. And I'm like, that is literally in the Bible that like you're going to hell for doing that. It says that in the Bible. Like what you do for the least of these, you do for me. And you just did the least of those. And so like I've always, even since I was like middle school, high school, I've always had an issue with the institution of church and like how people like redirect what morality is based on what they feel like. Or like what serves their pocketbook or like whatever. But at the end of the day, yeah, Jesus would have been a communist. Like he would have not been doing any of the stuff that we're seeing like on the main stage with the Republican Party. So yeah, it's been really interesting because I feel like Democrats are so anti-religion.
Yeah, because religion has wreaked havoc on a lot of us.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess it's religion. It's like Democrats aren't against spirituality. Yeah. But, yeah.
If you have crystals and, you have tarot cards, you're in the Democratic Party.
Yeah. If you have a Bible,
but if you have a Bible,
Republican.
Are you Unitarian? Like, we're down with the Unitarians.
Yeah,
then,
absolutely.
But I feel like that this is a real, like a thing that's going on.
Yeah.
And I think churches have to realign with it too. Yeah. And, anyways, I was really liking James Tallarico. Have you followed him at all? I wanted to ask Nate about him. James Tallarico is a very left-wing, he's trying to be a minister, but he's a state senator in Texas running for, I think, state senator, and then he's running for Senate. And he's speaking about these very things, and he was like, and there's a biblical justification for abortion. God asked Mary for consent, and he was like, even all-powerful God. And he talks about, you want 10 commandments in the school? Why not? Okay, we'll put 10 commandments. Well, that's like the shitty part of the Bible. He's like, why don't you turn the other cheek in the steps of the Pentagon? Or, justice is blind in a court. Or, is it harder for a man to enter heaven or thread the needle, some money thing in a corporate boardroom. Yeah. There's this very progressive thing going on in that. So that's cool that you're kind of like going into that. You're always on the leading edge.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out,
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think at the heart of it, it's like, it's really been good for me to connect. Well, I don't know. Honestly, there are a few people that go to the church that I'm going to that have come up to me and they're like, you should come for fellowship. And I'm like, I'm invisible here. Like, this is just for me. Yeah. But at the same time, like, I did hit this point where I was like, I feel so lost and kind of alone in my own spirituality, like to be able to connect with people on that level, because I think we're all just like struggling with that. So many of us feel so alone and like lost in the world right now. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and you find it, if you find it there, find it, it's a reason why it's been an institution for so long.
Yeah.
It's a basic human need. So, yeah, for sure. And my girlfriend teaches a grief and loss class at USU, and she was, they asked their students, you got to describe a loss, and a lot of Mormons that go into college end up leaving the Mormon faith, and they talk about how much of a loss that is. Like, the Mormon church is it's a great place to grow up. Kids play together and stuff, and they leave it, and but there's missing all those other things. So yeah. Okay, so that was a major thing. What other hot takes you want to take on? We got 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes.
The Broncos. You a Broncos fan?
Yeah, I'll be cheering for the Broncos today. It's my dad's team. My brother lives in Denver now. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Excited about the Bears for all my friends that are Bears fans.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Prompt me for another hot take.
Geez.
Final hot take.
Oh man.
No.
I don't know. It's always like when we do these things, it's like when the camera comes off, so I'm like, how do we do things where it's like it's not important? Like, how do you have a conversation where it's just like the best podcasters are the ones that it's just like they're just talking like normal kind of thing. So
yeah.
What TV show? Were you into shows right now?
I am. I'd recommend everyone Heated Rivalry.
Heated Rivalry?
Yeah.
No, I'm too old.
Oh my god.
He's gonna call me a boomer here pretty soon. What is it?
It's about hockey.
It's about hockey. I know about K-pop Demon Hunters. Heated Rivalry. Okay, yeah. So what's the catch? What makes you get into it?
Oscar and I are laughing. Well, it's about the number one, number two players in the MHL.
What's that?
The fictional NHL.
Oh, okay.
But two top players and
this is not based on reality.
No.
Okay.
It could be. It's basically about secretly gay players in Major League Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, but number one, number two, they have this heated rivalry,
and they get into it, Aaron. That's the catch.
Yeah.
They get into the rivalry.
Into it.
Yeah.
It's heated more than rivalry.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Oscar.
Not K-pop Demon Hunter.
Oh right. Yeah. I'm just. That's down.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm watching a show called Industry, which is about basically Oscar's not in that one too.
Oscar's into that one.
It's also an HBO. It's about the stock market and just people, young grads coming into the program and all the
So what do you look for? Are you one of these? Okay, so you like conflict.
I love conflict.
Right.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. No, it's I love controversy. How about murder? Or how about true murders?
True crime is a little less for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
It seems like women fall into two categories.
They
they're
either love it or
way into murders.
Yeah.
Or they're not. Or conflict. Yeah. So you're a conflict person.
Yeah, I'm into the
What do you think that is about?
Power dynamic conflict. Yeah.
I don't know. I just in men's world, I would just be I don't know men that are into the murder thing. We all on a job site, we're why are our girlfriends all into this? But then there's this other thing where it's okay.
The male equivalent is Roman Empire podcast.
That's
which
right.
I am totally guilty.
Yeah.
I was even going to be about the rival. I was the gayest guys are always fighting each other, Spartacus, going into Testudo formations of the Roman Empire and how they switched to the Bronze Age Roman. Anyways, I can get into that.
Yeah.
So that's my equivalent, I guess. So.
Yeah, well, and we've all seen the the little stories about how Grindr crashes in certain cities when there's
Oh
Republican
yeah, the
conventions
Republican
and all that.
grinder thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that funny
So
too?
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
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 I mean, to me, that's not even news.
Yeah.
Like, that's just kind of like, oh, yeah, that's what happens. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
because we
yeah.
all do it, it's all a spectrum.
Right.
And yeah, I guess if I could end on anything, kind of like some of all this is like, don't assume anyone is any kind of thing. I think that you do a really great job highlighting that about everyone. I feel
Yeah.
like you are that way. And yeah, I think take people for how they are. Like, don't take a person based off of the rumor that you heard about them or based on their party affiliation. Like, there are a lot of people that want to put in good work in this community. We're all complicated. We're all imperfect.
Yes, we are complicated creatures, humans, for sure. Yeah. So,
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and we need to have more conversations that are controversial.
yeah. And not like it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I might, whatever. Like, yeah, I was telling Trish, I disagree with Trish so hard on some things. But
Yeah.
like, I'll give Trish a hug, and she's a great person. Like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen your back and forth op-eds to each other.
Oh, yeah.
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 All right. Well, thanks, Kaitlyn, for coming out and
Yeah.
talking to us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.